All right.
There we go.
All right. And now you missed your whole intro. All right.
Fantastic. I like missing it.
Well, I guess that's my turn to say something about non-duality. So, you know, there's something that's seen, and this isn't about the words. It's not about constantly correcting the language and saying apparently or, seen by no one and all this stuff. It's just was seen that there was no one here. There's no autonomous, individual, separate entity running its life. That life seems to be living itself. And it's just one big, beautiful happening to no one, by no one. And whatever arises is this unspeakable, beautiful, unconditional, boundless mystery. And it could show up as anything. It could appear as anything. This is no thing appearing as everything. And there are no separate things. It's just seeing that this body, all the other apparent bodies, all the other apparent things are arising from the same mystery. I call it a mystery because there's no knowing, there's no understanding of what this is, because it isn't a thing. We call it this, call it mystery, we call it unconditional love. Some people call it awareness, consciousness, but it's none of those things. They say the map is not the territory. So it's undescribable and it's ineffable, but energy, sometimes people will say, boundless energy. It's amazing because at one point I just felt like a separate individual navigating my way through life and just felt separate, apart from. And now there's just, it was seen that this was always the case and that all that contraction and separation was an illusion to begin with. It just never was. So the message really is there's no place to get to. There's no one to get to anywhere, that this is always already all there is this boundless freedom, unconditional love. And it's important because I know so many people out there are so attached to the words and the concepts, and that's not it. It's not it. It's not an intellectual understanding. It's not even an experience. It's just what is, or what seems to be. We have beliefs, concepts, ideas, perceptions, projections, and that becomes our world of experience. We experience our own beliefs. We experience our own projections. We experience our own concepts. If you hold something to be true and real and solid, then that's your reality. But I guess the possibility that's being explored is that all that could fall away. The rug could be pulled out from underneath you into this free fall where there's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to grasp. It's just this beautiful mystery appearing as everything. And it inspires such wonder and awe to just look around and be amazed. Be amazed at what seems to be. And, somebody seemed to be yelling at me to stop speaking in cliches and talk about my own experience. And, my experience is, I got people waiting. Sorry, that's what happens when you talk with your eyes closed. The experience is that all that fell away. And there was an awakening to that there is no individual anywhere. There are no people. It's that all these bodies are almost operating on this programming and conditioning and enculturation, indoctrination. And these words are coming out, but they're not my words. Where would I get them? Where would I find them? It's just pouring out of me. The same with emotions and anything that is expressed. It's not mine. If I experience bliss, it's not my bliss. How could I create bliss? I am not the creator. I am not the destroyer. I'm not the preserver. I'm not the meditator. I'm not anything. It's just what's happening. It's just what's appearing to come out of this body, mind, organism, whatever you want to say. I don't have a thought. I don't have a feeling. There's no ownership of that. So to speak of my experience, I don't have an experience to talk about. All I have is whatever's pouring out of my mouth right now. What anyway, I think that's about it for me. We do have some comments in the chat. So feel free to comment in the chat, or you can raise your hand virtually and we will call on you in the Zoom. So Daryl says, it was seen by whom? This is exactly what I'm talking about. If you're focused on always saying, well, who did that? Then you're missing the point. You can't see the forest through the trees, so to speak. It just is. It just is. It's the same. No, let's just say, the seeing of this is the same as anything else. It's the same as me drinking this, or me talking, or it's all just what seems to be happening. And that seeing was also just, it's also not special. It's also no different than tying your shoes or having breakfast. It was just another, everyone likes to say it's all a story, it's all a story. Great. But some stories feel more blissful and beautiful than others. And I don't feel the need to constantly say by no one. It's experienced here. Life seems to be experienced here. It's like awareness, being aware of awareness, or life living itself, or the way I see it is like this one beautiful expression, expressing itself in all these different forms, being all these different forms with their own apparent individual experiences of life. And that was mine. Oh, Zoom link. They're looking for the Zoom link. So that was a part of my story, but it's still all a story because there's no falling away of a separate self because there never was one. So that also is another story. So what I'm pointing to is this unbroken whole was never broken. It never needed to be fixed. You never needed to be fixed. Nothing ever happened. But in the story of this character, there was an awakening. There was a scene. But to focus on, well, who did that is to get caught up in semantics and, it's not an intellectual understanding. It's not about getting the words right. This beingness doesn't give a fuck about the words. This beingness doesn't give a fuck about this character. It just is. It's just self-shining. It's just on. And there's no separation in that. There is no who. To whom do these thoughts arise? They arise to no one. They just arise. Anyway, any thoughts on that, Dawn?
I think you've answered it from every angle. It happens for no one. And that's a short answer, isn't it? The stock answer. But yeah. So in a sense, it happens to Dawn, but if you're talking about me, but Dawn is no one, and just as there's no one there, there's no one here. So it's whatever is said about this is mystifying, and yet it's very simple, and it's recognition, and it's in living this. It's just very simple. So yeah.
Oh, that was very short.
All right. Okay.
Oh no, I just muted myself because I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are open for questions and comments, please. Feel free to jump right in. Maybe they're afraid I'm going to attack them if they. Sorry, Daryl. I love you, buddy. He's a great guy. Oh, Betty said she really liked your intro.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Where's Betty then? Betty's. She's off swimming somewhere.
I'll share the Zoom link in there. Give me 1 second. Puck must just. All right, Zoom link has been shared in the on YouTube, if anyone wants to come in. Robbie says, lovely spending time with you two. Naomi says, warm wishes to all. Great to be able to join Walter and Dawn in the space. Oh, here comes Betty.
Okay.
I don't know how to pin it. Oh, Danny's coming in.
Hi.
Hi, Betty.
Hi. Dawn, I really like the intro. Don't ask me what you said because I don't remember anything that happened 2 minutes ago, but it was beautiful. It
All right,
really
okay.
was. Try to replicate it next time.
All right, okay. I have no idea what I said either. That makes
So good. It was so peaceful. It was very peaceful.
Oh, is that how
Yeah.
you feel? Are you feeling peaceful?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
so it's more about that. And you've disappeared. Danny's come on.
Well, I'll have the intro on my channel anyway. So it's
Oh, you can have Dawn's intro?
I'll have it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you meant you didn't get it either.
Well,
Oh,
she
well,
she records it for her channel, but I just go live, so everything is on there.
oh, okay,
Mhm.
good. Oh, so I will hear it again
Wow.
because it was great.
Betty is like a breath of fresh air, says Robbie.
Uh,
But
Danny, do you-
since
sorry.
nobody's talking, I'll say, can you hear me okay? Because I'm in the car.
yeah,
Oh,
good.
we can hear you good. Yeah.
So I heard a speaker, yeah, he was talking, but one thing that I remembered, he said, it's impossible for the illusion to ever be fulfilled. And wow. The whole life is seeking. Even to do a meditation, it's seeking for the peace, it's seeking for the quiet. Buy a bottle of wine, it's seeking from the escape from, from the daily life, trying to pick out where you're going to go on vacation, another seeking an escape. It's the the entire freaking day and life is total seeking. I just realized it. And it's like it's an impossibility because I've been looking for all 70 years to get fucking fulfilled. No wonder why it never happened. I'm not here. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah.
But at the same time, there's that, you'll still, I mean, you want something. I mean, it's not like after awakening, you don't want something from a bottle of wine, right? Or a holiday destination, but it's different. I suppose it's,
Yeah.
it's subtly different as well. Like it's, but decisions still
But
have to
I'm looking for something. You see, it feels like you're looking for. There's a me here that's looking
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
and
Being told to stop or drop the meditation, or I mean, none of that helps, right? I mean, it's
no,
just because you have to do something,
nothing helps. No, nothing helps. So, I always say, I goddamn wish I never heard the message. And I never had the proof. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody else said, I think the same speaker that same day said, it's unbelievable until it's undeniable. And I think that's kind of what happened, like came, I didn't come because I wasn't there. You get smacked in the face. I guess that happened to you, and it sounds like to Walter from what I recall. And you just can't go back.
Well, there's
Can't
no
go back.
to, is there? I mean, unless there's a glimpse, in which case it seems like it, has reverted back. But I mean, because the past is also in this as well, and it's a game changer, isn't it? So
Total game changer. It's a total game changer. If that hadn't occurred, I would have still been having a strong faith and belief in, God or something. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. There's nothing. It's
but
all
how do you know
empty.
that? I mean, you say that, like, is that from your experience of the glimpse you say that, or is that from listening to like non-duality speak?
Well,
Because
it's probably it's I guess conglomeration of everything, but no, I mean, this is the mystery of any spirituality. So I think I listened a little bit to who Walter had on this morning, just a little bit, because I had things I had to do, and that seems like kind of a comforting. Yeah, it's the formless becoming form, but is there some kind of like, I think even I get an inclination from Walter sometimes, like this beautiful 8 billion beautiful creatures, but there's somewhere something that there was somehow not a creation, like in a creation in a way almost. And I don't know, Walter, maybe he wants to explain it again, what he was saying, but it's like, I don't think there's anything. There's a big AI up there. I have no idea anymore what it is. I just know that there's nobody here, and the scientists have told us the same thing. There's nobody here. We got disconnected. Shit.
what?
Oh, no, you're still there, Betty.
Did you hear anything I said? I was ranting for about 10 minutes, and it looked like the thing froze. The Wi-Fi.
I got all of it, yeah.
Oh, you did? Oh.
I mean, the message is just the no thing being everything. So it doesn't matter what you call that no thing. Some people like God, so you can say God being Betty, God appearing as Betty.
It could be a praying mantis. Really, it's a mystery. It could be a praying mantis. I love praying mantis. They're so beautiful. I mean, just, it's just.
But I change the words all the time, just so, nobody gets attached to any of them, because, I can't possibly nail it, like use the right concept to frame what no thing is.
Nobody can.
So it doesn't matter. Let's call it whatever you want.
Yeah. It's the swans bobbing across the bay right now. I don't know. I mean, it's just, it was so much more, for me, it was, to have a faith, to have a God, to have, I got to do, 40 hours of, meditation, whatever. It was easier to have to throw everything away now, the baby and the bathwater. Yeah.
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 So Andy has his hand raised. If we could go to Andy.
Yeah, hi. Hi.
Hello, welcome.
Hi. So what I'm just thinking about is, when you're going through life, minding your own business and things are going sweet, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, something gets dumped on you, and you think, what the fuck's that? Where's that come from? This is shit. I don't like it. So what's all that about?
Don, you want to go first with that one, please?
Well, that's just stuff happening. I mean, what's your question around that? What's remarkable about that? What's underlying it? Like, because what, like, it's meaningful in some way, or what do you mean?
I guess is, I'm not sure what the question is, why does pain in the ass stuff happen when you maybe think you don't deserve it, other people don't deserve it? Why does some stuff happen to some people, doesn't happen to other people? What's the point? What's the point of pain, I guess? What's the point of pain?
But non-duality doesn't answer that question. I mean, it doesn't. And like, or the question, of theodicy, the question of evil or any of that, because love, unconditional love embraces all of that, and everything's just arising. So, there is no sense of, the only way you can even approach a question like that is psychologically. You can't, from a non-dual perspective. It's just unanswerable. It's, you can go into your psychology and go, why am I attracting these kind of patterns? And it's not fair. But beyond that, it's just seen in its kind of innocence, and it's beyond all that. It's there's no one suffering. There's it's another story arising in a sense, but that sounds totally cold, totally indifferent. But it's not, like, from that perspective. So it doesn't answer those individual questions, if you like, because they're very human questions, aren't they? Fairness, what's right, what's wrong, what's evil, what's, because this is beyond the mind. It's beyond those questions. It's beyond, and they are, it is unanswerable as well, in a real sense. I think you can kind of grasp, like, we can conjecture, and we have certain maps, don't we, for approaching something like that, even psychologically. I mean, the only thing
so if you experience something in your life, Dawn, that makes you think that's painful, do you engage with that on a psychological level then?
Well, there's no other level of engaging with it, because, I mean, engaging is that, isn't it? Because.
But do you feel like annoyed by it, or frustrated by it, or?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's appropriate when something hits you smack in the face. It feels unfair, of course. There's a, like, you can put it in a way, there's the unfairness part of the brain that is very, very strong. There's real strong reactions to unfairness in the brain, put it that way. But, like, and it's natural, awake or not awake, that there's a reaction to that. Like, sometimes life just sucks, and it seems like more than we can bear, but it's no one doing that and no one experiencing that. But you can explore it on a psychological level, and but yeah, there's non-duality is the wrong place to go, to a non-duality meeting, to, like, in a sense, if it, if we're just talking pure non-duality, it's it's all love, but that does not help. I mean, it doesn't help, like, doesn't mean it's okay on an individual level. There's still, like, a sense of injustice, a sense of what is wrong and right. I mean, that's just the individual, that's the ego. We have that's our way of navigating life. Like,
where does the word love come from? Why are you calling it love?
Because it embraces everything, because it's it has a feeling tongue to it as well. It is love, it's seen as love, it's experienced as love, it's
But who's defining that? Who's defining love? What's defining love? Why is that word being used? Because that feels like that's a human word. It's a dictionary, as a dictionary definition.
It is a human word in a sense we have some sort of sense of that, like you know, the love itself can, because it's boundaryless, and you know, you think of falling in love, that you know, there's a kind of merging, there's kind of, you know, the boundary is, it's like looking in a mirror, right? It's the separations can seem to evaporate in that to a certain extent, right? Well, it's, and there's a coming home in the other, like that, a feeling of that, maybe some sort of sense of that. So this is a, because there's no separation, like you think of that, it's the otherness, isn't it, that creates that unease. So peace is, well, it's, you know, you could say intimacy, you know, like in moments where the mind isn't there, where you see a sun, you know, maybe you're on holidays, you see a beautiful sunset, and for a moment the mind isn't there, and it's just peace, and there's just love, and there's a feeling of fulfillment, but maybe the mind comes back. But there are moments, we all experience moments of this, you know.
Yeah. I think part of the struggle is trying to describe something that you cannot describe by using description. It seems sort of contradictory. But I get it. I mean, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it is. Yeah, I mean, Jung describes it as a secret. You know, non-duality is a secret because, not because you tell no one, but because no one can understand it. It's not understood by anyone, right? It's understood, bypasses the mind. So it's in that sense. So yeah, but yeah, you know, they're natural questions, but there's a lot of I think a lot of, there's a lot of a realization that a lot of questions just can't be answered. So there's less struggle with that, like no one has those answers, and as, you know, as far as we know, like there isn't, it's just, you know, a sense of unfairness arises. It's, I don't know. What do you think, Walter? The sense
Well,
of,
what I think is that without any thoughts or concepts, you know, just sitting here, it's just like a breeze on my back. It's just the sounds I'm hearing and my own voice. It's just what is. And, you know, meaningless thoughts about a meaningless world. So when you say, basically you're asking like, why do bad things happen to good people? And, you know, there really aren't any bad things and there really aren't any good people. These are all beliefs and concepts, and we're assigning meaning and purpose. So, but this beingness, if it's experienced by the person as peace and love, and I don't know what else to say. It's just if you could sit with that, like without any thoughts or concepts or beliefs, it's just this
I think, I'm sorry.
non-conceptual, pure beingness, that without good, bad, just
Or
is.
words, like good, bad, or words. Yeah.
Or worse.
I was going to say, I think Jung tries to capture that when in his interpretation of the Book of Job. You know, Job is punished by God. There's a wager with the devil, you know, Satan, that Job is nice to God, very, very loyal, only because he's got so much wealth and power. But actually, in the end, God decides to become man in Christ, according to Jung, because man is an ethical being. Man has to be aware of the fact that he's mortal. Man is going to die. His actions have consequences. So he has to navigate life through an ethical kind of way to make things work out. So God being the formless, thundering, indifferent in the Old Testament God, there's good, bad, there's everything, and man being kind of form, bringing in all these different aspects of the human being, kind of ethical human being. So I suppose that's a kind of metaphor for Shakti Shiva, or we can't, these questions have baffled theologians for ages. The Odyssey, the question of evil, and we haven't got anywhere with it. So like
We have a question in the chat for Don. It says, Don, how to live in this world as an apparently free person when seemingly all those around you are living by group think?
Well, you probably need to group think. I mean, you're not saying very much there. That will be very frustrating and probably very isolating, and you should make some new friends, maybe meet some new people, or it can be crazy making that. But I mean, group think, it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with awakening or not. I mean, I'm not sure what you're referring to there, but people who don't think for themselves, maybe, not questioning the hand-me-down kind of ideas, the prescribed ways of thinking. It can make you doubt yourself, probably. You could get scapegoated in that. It's not a great environment by the sound of it. But why are you surrounded by that? That's my question. Why have you just recently woken up, and has this become a problem recently, or is this a pattern, or I don't know. No, it probably feels safe for a lot of people. These questions don't arise for a lot of people, if you're not, you don't have a sort of philosophical mind, or, in a way it's a curse to kind of question life, that those whole, because a lot of people just bumble along and they don't think, well, why am I, the existential questions, like King Lear is, surely there's more to life than this. I don't know, puts it probably a better way than that. But, what is this? And, search for meaning in it. What's it about? Is this all, like, a lot of people, those questions don't really get them. So it's interesting that they've got you, and I don't know, maybe you don't have an outlet for whatever it is you have. I don't know who you are, what you've got, or where you're heading, but
Hi Don. Yeah, it's me that wrote the question. Just signed up to the Zoom call. Yeah, some of the things you say are definitely accurate, about potential to being scapegoated. And yeah, it's a pattern for sure. And awakening is something that's kind of dawned over the last few years.
Right.
But it's difficult to say whether it's always been there, and I just have kind of ignored it. I'm not sure. But yeah, I often find myself, sorry. Sorry.
No, go on. You've often found yourself.
Yeah, like you said, like just in environments where I don't fit in, just constantly. But it's a constant pattern from childhood. Yeah, and it's crazy, really. But it seems like something I just can't break out of. it just, yeah, it really seems like I just can't break out of it. Like I just see, oh, wherever I would turn, the same pattern would again kind of happen.
Okay. And no one
That's
will
the way it feels.
So people shut you down then, do they? How does it manifest with the others? You say groupthink. I mean, what do you mean by that then? What kind of?
It's difficult to say what I mean by it. By groupthink, yeah, like you put it better in terms of people living by the sort of hand-me-down ideas. Or I couldn't really put it in any way, but I just always feel like there's a group and then there's me outside. And of course, that might everybody might have that experience, but I really don't feel that that's the case. I totally think I just feel isolated, really, and always on my way out of whatever environment I might be in. I'm always passing through and looking to leave and looking to go to a new environment, but the same thing kind of keeps happening.
So as a kid, did no one hear you or see you? Like you weren't?
Yeah, for sure, no doubt. Yeah, I got scapegoated real bad as a child. Like,
Were you the scapegoat?
like real, yeah, real bad. And I know you've mentioned Dr. Ramani in some of your, I think, before, and I've watched a lot of videos on that, and for years really. And I know that the answer is to find one's true expression and things like that, and I think I've got it, but it's real tentative, baby steps. And I think you keep going back to that safety, that kind of, oh, that's what is that kind of scapegoating, or you're comfortable in that role, and
Do you accept that
keeps
role?
manifesting it. I think I've got a lot better in the sense, but it's always creeping on me. I always feel like that role is going to get creeping up on me, and I don't really want to be like that at all. But I don't see how I could exist in these environments without playing that role. So,
well, like if you come out of that, like, I mean, scapegoat children, like if you've had that, I mean, they're often very much the most interesting ones. Like you'll if you do kind of work with that and see where that's coming from, and kind of, you can go a long way. Scapegoat types are very interesting. They see through stuff because they know the dark side of life. They're really in touch with the shadow because they've been the target of that. Like it's an amazing insight. So there's a lot there if you're kind of, potentially a lot there, I think, and it's definitely worth exploring, because you don't have to take that role on. You really don't. I mean, you can work that out maybe in a psychotherapy group or something, that's one way of working it out. But when I was using the example of Job, he was seen by René Girard as a field scapegoat, because the beggars in the street saw him as condemned by God. He must be evil. Everyone, he was the scapegoat, and he did not take it on. His best friends came to him and said, "You've done wrong because everybody's against you." He said, "No, my God is my defender. My defender lives." I'm just giving a biblical example, but like, you don't have to. I know if that's your group of friends, maybe you feel you're very dependent on them. So I can see why you can get trapped in that.
No, it's more. It's as in friendship groups. Like, I've really got only like one or two real close friends, and then I'm kind of not in any friendship groups. It's more work situations. I'm always the outsider, but yeah. But sorry.
You're probably in the wrong work for a start. You probably.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely in the wrong work. Like, Jesus Christ, yeah. I was talking about, I think a few weeks ago, I sent a message, on the YouTube chat saying, working in schools, a school teacher, quite traumatized children and traumatized areas, stress and people running around the building, and like madness, and professionals kind of out at sea, they're just drowning in the workloads and all things like that, and it's just a tough environment to be in. But I mean,
you're probably good at what you do. Am I guessing right? Are you good at that?
I'm good at what I do. Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm not even sure. Like, I can't. I'm not necessarily. Oh, I must be doing okay, but It's
You-
difficult to say. I
you
mean, I
li-
always feel I want to get out of it. Like I always want, I wouldn't mind if I never saw any of those people again. But I've always been working like for a company, so I go into different schools and I sort of take on different roles for 6 months here, 6 months there, 3 months here, 12 months. So that suits me in the sense that I can sort of pass through the school. I'm not sure if I'm good at what I do. I mean,
Oh.
it's an impossible job, isn't it, teaching?
Yeah. Are you a truth teller as well? Was that your role? Did you say things that
Yeah, I was. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I don't speak up like and be a truth teller. But it's impossible kind of not to, because your attitude, your kind of who you are, that's just kind of who you are, just the way you walk, and the way you are, and you can't help but be what you are. You have to speak up. And yeah, I do. I mean, I tell honest about myself, honest about others. But
Well, you're threatening
this world.
something.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah. And then I go and live in this Buddhist monastery as well, like part-time of the year. And
Oh.
I'm threatening things there, like left, right, and center, like
All
with
right,
everyone.
okay.
Yeah. And that's interesting, getting avoided by people or ignored. Just the shit that goes down in communities like that, where there's a grapevine and all that.
Well, I guess if you're awake, you're not making an identity out of it, because, like, I think I did at one point make an identity of being the scapegoat, like, like,
Yeah.
I guess if you're awake, you're probably not doing that, right?
I think I used to, yeah, and I do slip into that every now and then, like so being controversial. Yeah, it's hard to wake up to what you're doing.
It's definitely worth exploring, though. Like, I would, because you're probably in the wrong environment or something, like, whatever it is, and where that's coming from as well. And if you're watching Dr. Ramani, no doubt there's, maybe narcissistic abuse around you. You must be drawn to that for a reason, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of that growing up,
That's what feels
yeah, there's a
comfortable.
lot of abuse and stuff like that.
Well,
Yeah, interesting dynamics, all kinds of dynamics, what to do.
your friends get your
Yeah.
two close friends? I mean,
Well, I say two, but there's really only one very close friend. Yeah, he gets me pretty good, like for real. Like he's like my best friend, soulmate kind of thing.
oh, okay,
So
cool.
I'm lucky there that I kind of found that. And it's funny that it straight away.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate, blessed to have that. Yeah, can't say anything more really. But I mean, you're sort of looking for those true connections, people and it's so obvious, isn't it? It's so clear that the people that you feel light and free, and then you feel constricted and tight, and that's just, you want to get away from that, and that's kind of life sort of moves towards the freedom.
Yeah, well,
But you
maybe
can't help.
maybe you're not seeing something still, psychologically, like if it's following you, I don't, it's-
Yeah.
oh,
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get anything though. You could get attacked in the street. You can get the
yeah.
cashier can be rude to you. It's so dicey, the world. It feels so kind of, you got unsafe in many ways.
Okay. That sounds painful, and it sounds so
pretty.
necessary. Like, I mean, I don't know you, but it sounds like it could be other, like you're awake now, and I've been there, so I know, I kind of know I feel like I know where you're coming from, but it can be other, like, but I guess
Not unsafe.
no,
Yeah.
safe.
I mean, but I've got kind of a little nest, where I can kind of retreat to, home space. I've sort of made that for myself. And yeah, I know what you mean. There is those that potential for freedom, but it is trauma. It's so trauma based. It's so deeply rooted in the body.
Yeah, it's a
like,
shame you've got the
past
awakening.
addictions.
Oh, okay. This.
I do quite a lot of stretching, and that's so helpful. Stretching out the muscles, long periods, hours at a time. So much
Okay,
tension
alright.
held in the body, and that's
Okay,
definitely helped
right.
a lot. So
Um,
it's sort of a long waking up process. It's
Oh, so there's a
yeah,
lot of release of trauma and stuff as well, then that's going
fucking
on.
loads. Yeah, loads. Like body stuff. Yeah,
Right.
a lot of like crazy amounts. Like I used to be in pain like constantly.
Oh, whoa,
Just
okay.
released quite a lot of that. But,
Right.
yeah,
So it's been
chronic
quite,
stuff. Just the way the nervous system was held was so tight, the body, and it must voice everything. So I mean, yeah, I feel like I'm on a good path. Like I feel like I'm going somewhere good, in the deep part of me, the deepest part. Um, but then, yeah, there is still a lot of unsafety feeling, feeling with people, paranoia, and
okay.
whether it's accurate, yeah, things like that, paranoia about colleagues, all sorts of things.
Yeah, which can be created by occupying that position as well. I mean, it doesn't mean you're necessarily paranoid, but does your friend give you kind of
Mm.
like good feedback, like a reality check and stuff like that? Do you?
Yeah, he's not bad. I think it's just a breath of fresh air, and it's not so much that he can sort of mirror back things. We sort of are just comfortable, just of in every way, like fighting and joking around, and it's hard to. I think he mirrors me pretty good. I think he knows me pretty well. He's got holds me in positive like regard. I can't
Yeah, because you need. It's quite good to get, to be seen and to have, a real accurate response to what you're saying, and someone who sees all that, and just to kind of, to begin to see what's going on, like, because it's if you try to do it by yourself, I don't know, I think I'm not saying it's impossible, but it'd be a lot slower if you do it, like, but
Mm.
you know
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you could point into therapy, but it's difficult to find good. No, not a good therapist. Not the right word for it, but the right therapist. Difficult.
well, good
Yeah.
therapist or confidant, but someone who gets where you're coming from and reflects that back and gives you, so that your sense of, so that what's going, like you can really explore what's going on, and they can share their stuff as well. Like,
Mm.
I mean, with friendship, at least it's a two-way. It's just good. Therapy is great as well if you get someone who gets a narcissistic abuse
Mm.
stuff. But
Mm. Yeah, I tend to be not very trusting. Like, you can meet people, can't you? And you can sense that there's that sort of attraction, and I tend to push that away or run away. Because I'm worried that I don't know what it is that I'm sort of fearful that I don't know. I just more safer, in my sort of the world that I know, and yeah. So that sort of thing can happen, when you come across someone, you can tell that they want to get to know you, or they see something that they find attractive about you, and I sort of push that away. It's pretty crazy, really.
oh no, okay. Well, I mean, the ones scapegoat types are, I think, primarily freeze and fawn responders in the trauma kind of model, Pete Walker's, but so you probably
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
So you withdraw when you're stressed out, and when someone's
Hmm.
scapegoating you, you're probably very nice to them. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Fucking crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Even though I'm
Yeah, it's
smacking them in
crazy.
the face. Yeah.
Survival, though. It's just survival and
It is survival. I suppose it works in a way, but
change it.
you just want to engage as little as possible with them. But yeah, there's some cunts around.
You can change it. Yeah, I know, but you can. you know, I'm sure you can change that around. It's definitely, yeah. If you want to, a lot of that stuff can fall away. You just probably need a wee bit of a, you know, I don't know, help, whatever. Just to see what you've got, to see who you are, and to know it's all there. Because, like, you know yourself. It's all there. Everything you need, you've got. You know. There's probably a lot of self-doubt though. I imagine.
Yeah, this self-doubt creeps in, into the heart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a killer. Not great.
Probably, yeah. But then you might say, oh, it's your discerning wisdom, because part of me thinks, oh, it's that, discerning wisdom.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
difficult one, but yeah. Well, these meetings are good, and yeah, it's good to be with people who are sort of on a good level, just through calls like this, through the internet. It's amazing. So yeah, thanks for doing this, and Walter, it's good. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I might give you ideas at pop, maybe
You might what?
therapist, but I'd give you ideas of pop, getting a therapist, or I don't know, it's looking at
I'm
things.
one. There's one here.
You are indeed. Yeah. Well, I know I've got your website. So I was probably going to send a message. I didn't think you were
The
looking for
website says
clients,
stuff
though.
off on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, your website says you're not looking
Just
for
ignore that.
clients. Okay. Well, I'll send
You want to give out
I'll
your
send you an
email there, Don?
It's right. Well, he can do it through the website if he wants.
Oh, your email's on there?
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are
Yeah,
taking
I'll send you an
clients.
email.
Okay, great.
In some cases, yeah. Anyway, yeah. I'll give you an email then. All right.
Okay. All right. See you.
Or not. It
Or not.
depends,
Oh yeah, you
whatever
don't know.
happens,
No
you know what I mean?
obligation.
Yeah.
See what you feel
Yeah.
like.
Thanks. It's good chatting anyway. Cheers, guys. See ya.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Walter, I just wanted to respond for a second to Rob, because I spent 40 years in an educational bureaucracy. I'm retired about 7 years ago and was never so happy in my whole life, because damn, if you move 1 inch to either side outside of the stringent parameters they set up for you, you are ostracized, you are blacklisted. They watch you and watch you and watch you, and it's very, very, very stressful. And yeah, I mean, taking courses at night and stuff, I was finally able to find myself into an office, which was a lot nicer than being within the school system. It's a lot of stress for somebody, and I can commiserate with Rob, and I hope he makes it. Yeah, it's rough. Bureaucracy. Ooh, school systems, the worst. Those poor kids. We're screwing them all up. That's why the country is the way it is. Your country, my country, whatever. Thank you.
God, even the word bureaucracy, you just hear the tread of the Nazi boot, don't you? Just, I don't know. So.
Well, we got over 20 people watching, so feel free to jump in with your questions. Daryl, you had a few earlier on the chat. I see you're in the Zoom if you want to jump in. Or not.
Hello. How are you today?
Hi, Danny.
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, how are you? If
Danny.
the other guy, Daryl, wants to come in, he can come in. I didn't mean to cut him off, but I just got the urge. Anyway, well, it's good to I like hearing you guys, and I've been listening to the introductions, Dawn. They've been great. Somebody said in the beginning they were great. introductions. But I don't really have a lot of questions. I feel nervous all of a sudden here. But all right, I guess for one thing is like about like there's nothing that can be done about anything, right? Because there's nobody here. But yet, if the me hasn't dropped, the apparent me hasn't dropped, it feels like there's someone here, you know? So, I mean, maybe how do you guys think about that? How do you deal with, they're not, it's like, how can they give anybody advice, or yet we do, but who, like, there's no prescription in anything. So I'm just kind of making a general thing. Like you can't, like, everybody's going to go through what they're going to go through. Like whether it's alcoholism, which happened here, it stops when it stops. But when you're in it, if you say that or think that way, it's awful because you need some hope, But anyway, I think it's probably just ends up playing out as it plays out, because when I was ready, I got help. I really went for getting help, because you're desperate and you want out. But really, that's just the way it played out. I mean, right? So,
Well, AA, they talk about grace, grace of God. And
yeah.
most people I know were struck sober, and they say by the grace of God. And grace is like an unmerited gift. So you don't have to earn it. You can't screw it up. It's just something that seems to be given for no reason at all, no meaning or purpose, whether you get sober or you don't get sober. And you're right that there is no one doing anything, but things are being done. Things seem to be being done. So the way I look at it is, say Dawn suggests, therapy or something, and that's followed up on, and the person does that, and they feel better, and that's all just what seems to be happening, But so to say there's nothing to do is not actually the message. It's just there's no one to do it. There's no separate individual with autonomy doing anything. But going to meetings, getting a sponsor, reading the big book, staying sober one day at a time, whatever you want to say, are things that apparently are being done. And there's an apparent person that's sober, and that's why I say it's a story, because there you go. There's a character in a story staying sober one day at a time through
Right.
whatever methods or means. But yeah, I think to say there's nothing to do is not really the message, because there's
Right.
plenty to be done.
Well, it's also very, what do you call it? Disempowering, or it's very like it just sets any sails that you have, the wind just goes out of them, because you're like, I can't do this, I can't do that. It can be, it's, I don't know, used in the mind, I guess. I've used the message of non-duality in my mind, I think, to I don't know, to try to like, if, since there is no one here really, then use that, in some way, but like use the knowledge of the fact that there's no one here. Yet my experience is, except for 25 years ago, I did have an experience where that was all gone. But now it's, this apparent me is back. So it seems like it's, but it knows that this message is true. So there's a lot, there's a lot of mental stuff that happens. But yeah, anyway. No, it's all good. I mean, I'm not at my best right now because I'm a little high. So sorry, but I just kind of wanted to say hi. That's really it.
I
Keep,
think
keep listening. I enjoy listening to you on both, like, because I was in the non-duality camp where I'm only listening to the non-compromising message, started with Tony, and then there's a lot more people now, like Kenneth and Jim, and I resonate with what they say. You know, I resonate. Yet it's not my experience. You know, like the me is still apparently here, and and then I've been running into the fear of the message has been. I've been getting a little bit of afraid of the message because I'm not suffering that much anymore. I don't drink 3 years. Things are okay. Do I really want to die? No, of course, no, man, no. So there's a little bit of that that's coming up. It's like, all right, we can put the brakes on here, you know? So, I mean, anyway, I do believe nothing I can do about it. I heard that a long time ago. Thank you. No more searching. Nothing I can do about it, about the me dropping, you know? But maybe I can do something about the dream, you know, do something about what's apparently happening, right? And if it does, I can at least try. If it doesn't work, it's okay. It's not a big deal, you know. That's what are we left with? Well, if we're still there, we know though, we know what the truth, we know what's up, but we're still here. What are you left with? What do you do?
Go ahead,
I
Don.
guess it's happening anyway.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say what he's basically said was, you know, like it doesn't really factor in the non, like when you've got a problem, a personal problem, you just approach it as you would ordinarily anyway. Like, I mean, that's, you know, which is what you've been saying, but because the message can be heard as a kind of futility of that. Of course, there's no guarantees of success in anything, but you know that psychologically anyway. You don't need non-duality to tell you that. I guess it's just because people hear it in that way, don't they? Sometimes, like, you know, I don't even, you know, like, yeah, sometimes you're better just forgetting about the non-duality when you're facing just something like just, which I guess is what you're doing anyway. Like, no guarantees, but you know, I think it can complicate.
It's a fascinating message. The message is fascinating too, you know. It's like that there's nobody here, you know.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's like it goes over. People say that, but it just kind of like goes over the head, you know, like because that's the you know the experience is somebody's here and even thoughts and life and all that, you know. That's like that's I guess why awakening is such a big thing, because it's like, whoa, you know, I'm not my thoughts, you know. There's a, you know, but yeah. Anyway, it's just a big. I kind of lost my track of thought there. So, but it's too many edibles, you know.
Well, I think the book,
Trading money addiction.
I'm tempted to quote the book whenever I talk to someone that's sober, because it says, when we place ourselves in God's hands, it's better you know, better than anything we could have imagined for ourselves. So I see it that we don't have to place ourselves in God's hands. We're already in God's hands. It's already the case. You know, lack of power doesn't have to be our dilemma.
There's something about hearing that though too, isn't there? Like just the sense of permission of handing over, even though no one could do that. Like there is something in hearing it, I think, that can kind of help. There's a kind of energetic something around that. Like, I think we all know that, like in a certain situation, you know, it's a cliche, but it can make something relax in us, or, you know, anyway.
Well, thanks. I mean, it's good to, you know, to speak with you guys. And I like when I'm if I'm off on Mondays, I try to tune in, you know. So it's good. All right.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
Okay, we got CCR, Queen's Clearwater Revival says, you can tell yourself you're going to stop drinking, but it's going to happen or not, regardless of your thoughts or what you want. That's what the radical non-duality says with confusing language.
I think you can see that anyway. I think that's kind of plays out in life, right? I mean, statistically, if you go to the 12 steps, some people make it, some people, yeah, I mean, I don't think you need non-duality to get that, really. Maybe for it to sink in, like, absolutely. Well, of course, I mean, isn't it kind of obvious in a way, like, you know, but then some people, I don't know, like, think there's a process and they will continue with something and continue and continue, and, you know, this malignant optimism, a term Sam Vaknin coined for, like, not giving up something, like, this is going to happen eventually, this is going to work out the way I want it. And so there may be something in dropping that as well, like, you know, there's an intelligence to knowing when to let go, but kind of everything we say is false, isn't it? But, you know, you have to say something, right? Throw a cliche in here and there.
Yeah, I mean, like Big Book says, God's the director, we're his agents. He's the, you know, he's in charge, basically. And there is no he, there is no God, in my view, but it's just what is. So there's no surrendering necessary. It's just already the case. It's already, you know, like the Bible says, lilies of the field, like everything's already being taken care of. Daryl, did you want to jump in?
Yes.
Okay, please. You want to turn on your camera?
Am I okay? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, I'm trying to learn how to turn the damn camera on. Let's see, hang on.
Yeah, you get the little icon there with the
And what do? You
video.
push that?
Just boom, just hit it. Probably has like an X through it, and then you just turned off your mic now. That's all right. You do whatever you can do.
Okay, hang on.
Uh,
Okay, there. Am I there now? No.
No, you're
Hold
not
on,
there.
I'll get it. I'm coming.
He's
Am I
coming.
there now?
Not yet.
No. Okay. I am technologically illiterate, Walter. Please know that.
No problem. You could just go ahead and say what you want to say. But now you get yourself muted again.
Okay, hang on. Can you hear me now?
I can totally hear you. Yeah, it should be just like a
Okay.
little picture of a.
I see that, and I push the picture, but nothing's happening when I push it.
All right. Well,
So
just
anyway,
go right ahead.
okay. So I just wanted to address a couple of things. It's so interesting hearing the different perspectives, and just a quick about me in terms of my awakening, and that's in quotations because I don't know what that means. But about 7 years ago, I had something happen to me which changed my whole perspective on everything. And ever since then, I was confused by that 7 years ago. And as I sit here listening to you guys talk 7 years later from then, I'm just as confused as I was 7 years ago about what has happened to me and what I am to do with it. And I'm not really looking for any answers here. I just wanted to share this ongoing frustration that I'm having lately about feeling like a damn puppet in reality. Like I really have no power. I'm just here, or something's just here. And like you said, this is just happening. But I'm not, that doesn't sit well with me because I feel powerless in any regard with that way of thinking. If I'm just here and things are just happening, then what am I? Just a damn what? What is there to do if that's the case? I guess that is a question. If I'm just here and this is just happening, is there anything, any action, anything that I should be doing other than what just happens? I guess that's a question.
Don, you want to start with that one?
Like life just goes on, taking something other than what just happens. I mean, obviously that doesn't make any sense, right? In a way, but like, I think the frustration just comes in taking the message, sort of hearing the message rather than, like, there's nothing different in life. Like it's experienced differently. There's no one living that, but life goes on in the normal way. And you do, I want to do something, I go and do it. I go for a night out, I organize something. You're not impotent in this, you're not powerless in this. If powerless exists in the relative as well, right? That can be a psychological fact, right? I mean, this isn't about being powerless, and it's about being open and vulnerable. It's not powerless or not powerless. Like, it's beyond all that. It's just saying that there's no center to experience. There's no, I'm not sure why you're struggling with that. So maybe you had a glimpse and the sense of constriction or something has returned, and you're trying to figure it out somehow. A mixture of hearing it with the mind and your own experience in the past or something, because none of that exists for me. I mean, none of it. It's like, it's just normal living. It really is. There's no difference here. It's just experienced differently. And it's most, so the mind isn't at the forefront, the ego's not in the forefront. So you're not busy trying to work things out to the same extent maybe you were. So that's kind of, that can be accessed, but it's not who you are. But it doesn't matter. It makes no difference whether the mind's completely trashed, completely gone forever or not. Like, there's no loss in this, not really. There's the illusion is seen through. It's not, the rest of it's intact. It's just without an identity. And like, I don't know how to put it word to make it sound like it's just not, it's not powerlessness. It's not. And in fact, because it's love. I mean, it's just, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to explain it. It's just like, all of that kind of falls away when this is an abiding state. It all falls away, really. There's no struggle with those kind of concepts, because they are, and because hearing the message, the message can leave you kind of feeling like what you're talking about, like, but this, you've experienced it, right? So I don't know, maybe you're struggling to embody that. I don't know where you're at. You don't know where you're at, do you? So I don't know.
Well, thanks.
No. Are you going, or are you?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Have you any, did you have a glimpse that lasted a few weeks then, and it's back to kind of as it was, or?
Well, when you say glimpse, I'm not sure what you mean by glimpse, but what happened was 6 years ago, I got terminated from my job. And I think that was the impetus that kind of, I start seeing things differently. I think I was so, I think I was more my job. So when I lost the job, well, there went Daryl. I had no real identity other than my work. So everything shifted from there, and then all of life seemed very, very different. It's like I didn't have a sense of who I was anymore and have a sense of anything. So over the last 7 years, it's been that kind of thing going on. And after a while, it becomes very frustrating because I guess I'm looking for some way to be, I guess. And maybe I should not look for a way to be and just be and be okay with just being. I guess that's what I need to do because I'm looking for a way to be, I guess, rather than just being.
Was the
Right?
love scene? Was it just the seeing of, you know, have you heard of like the seeing emptiness, seeing a fullness? Was there a sense of intimacy there, a sense of unconditional love, or, you know, like, did it, or was it,
No.
so maybe it
What?
was a seeing of emptiness, was it? Like, just like the self gone and kind of not cold, but a kind of, you know, non-attached state with, you know, does that resonate or?
No, I hear what you're saying. No, not that at all. I've never felt unattached. I guess I just wasn't sure. I thought I was attached to what I believe God was in my
Okay.
bringing up as in terms of Christianity. I thought that was the attachment. So all of that fell away.
Okay.
The religion, the Christianity, all of that, and left me confused. Well, what the hell do I believe now? Since all of that obviously doesn't make any sense.
Okay. All right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. So more like that.
Okay. So there's a part of you still struggling with it, but it's gone. It's just gone. But you, yeah.
It's gone and I'm struggling with it.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe it's
that's
not gone.
that's, yeah. Well, it's good and bad. I don't know why you're still struggling with it, but maybe you
Me
need
either.
to, okay. And you've watched a lot of non-duality stuff, so you know you're familiar with the you know, you recognize what's happened to you. You said that, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. I've seen about 1 million non-duality videos and about 1 million near-death experience. That's how it really started for me. I was obsessed with watching those damn uh, not the life death experience videos.
Oh yeah.
I watched and so because they became so real, it's like what they were describing had happened to me, although I hadn't died, but I felt like I'd had that same experience. You know, all of that they said that people go through after they had their near-death experience. I feel like I've had that without dying, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Because awakening is very much part of, well, not always the case. So the you know, I mean, they can be separate things, but I mean, an NDE's got nothing to do with non-duality in a sense, but a lot of people have a permanent shift or through that, you know, that is part of that, you know, comes back and an abiding state arises from that. I'm putting that really badly. I don't care. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you don't, I mean, yeah. But yeah, and the falling away of dogma, the falling away of the idea of a God separate in some other realm. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was raised in the church. I was a Christian minister most of my life and a youth
Okay.
minister, all of that. Yeah, all
right,
of that.
okay. Right, well, that makes it more profound, doesn't it? There are some, yeah, yeah, that's a difficult one, I think, for ministers and stuff. I've seen a couple of interviews. I think there's a couple on not conscious TV, Batgap.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, you've seen them. Yeah. But it can make, yeah, and some people stick with the job, don't they? And can be quite good at that, but they can't come out with this stuff, you know. I think Alan Watts, I mean, wasn't he a priest, or anyway, he was clergy somehow, and he gave it up in the end because, you know, couldn't kind of stand by the dogma.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because you know, of course, your family and everyone expects you to be the same person.
Oh
And
yeah.
expect you to believe the same thing that you believed for 50 years of your life, and it's no longer there. You can't go back to what's not there anymore. And so I guess it's just frustrating. I'm always frustrated, and I'm getting frustrated about being frustrated because life is short, and I don't want to spend my life, any part of it, frustrated. and I'm not used to living a life in this type of frustration, and I don't know what the hell to do about it. That's what's frustrating. So
It sounds like you're
anyway,
frustrated with the identity,
yes, perhaps,
but
Walter.
your new identity is not a puppet, though.
Say more. Say more. Say more about that.
Well, what I mean is the identity just completely vanished as a, you're obviously not what you do. You're not your roles, like I'm a father, I'm a cook, I'm a this and that, but that's not me. I'm just, I'm reluctant to even say what I am because it's all just concepts, but the identity as a separate self just vanished. So yeah, if you're struggling with you're not a minister anymore, you're not a this anymore, and you know what I mean? It's kind of like this free fall. And I've heard of people being in that state. It sounds like the dark night of the soul in a way. It might be what you're going through.
Well, I've certainly heard about that and seen many videos about the dark night of the soul. Perhaps that's what this is. I don't know, but it is a frustrating place to be. Yeah, but I mean, every day it's a different type of frustration. But I don't know. Talking through it helps. Even this little exchange here, I feel better just by speaking about it. So thank you both for listening and helping. I appreciate that.
Well, come next week. You can speak some more.
Okay. I will.
You gotta
I
go
will.
now.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would like to continue this next week for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daryl.
Okay.
And
Thank you, guys.
thank you everyone for being here. We're out of time, so we'll do this next week, same time, same channel. And join me if you can at 10 a.m. Eastern time with Jerry Katz will be on the show. And with that, Dawn,
Yeah.
any speaking engagements coming up?
Next month, 12th of May at the Philadelphia Association in Hampstead. That's a long way away, but yeah, next week, 7:00 Eastern, not Eastern, British time for me. So yeah, see you, some of you then, I hope. And thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. See you next week.